Hello friends, the 2027 COLA forecast just changed, and the new number is higher than almost anyone predicted. Not slightly higher, meaningfully higher. And the reason it changed has nothing to do with the usual factors analysts track every year. It has to do with something happening right now, in oil markets, in global supply chains, and in the specific inflation index the Social Security Administration uses to calculate your annual raise. And if the current trend holds through September, the average Social Security recipient could be looking at $80 to $90 more per month, starting January 2027. But there are three things about this forecast that most coverage is getting wrong, or leaving out entirely. And those three things directly affect whether that number ends up in your pocket, or gets quietly taken back before you ever see it. Today, I'm going to walk through exactly what changed, what the new forecast actually means for your specific check, and what is already working against that number before October even arrives. Before we get into the numbers, if you are not subscribed to this channel, please do that right now and turn on the bell. The COLA forecast updates every single month as new inflation data comes in. When it moves, up or down, the Social Security Administration does not send you a personal update. They don't call, they don't email, they post a number in October and expect you to already understand what it means for your check. What I do here is track every update, break down what it actually means in real dollar terms for your specific situation, and get it to you before the final number is locked in October, while there is still time to make decisions around it. The people subscribed here are the ones who find out when the forecast changes, when the Medicare premium offset wipes out part of the raise, and when there is something they can actually do about it. The ones who are not subscribed tend to find out in January, when the new check arrives, and it is not what they expected. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's get into what just changed and why it matters. Let's start with what actually happened. Earlier this year, the consensus forecast for the 2027 COLA was sitting at approximately 2.8%. That was the number analysts were projecting based on inflation trends at the time. Modest, in line with 2026. Nothing dramatic. Then the April 2026 inflation data came out, and in a single month, two of the most closely watched forecasters revised their numbers dramatically upward. The Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan advocacy organization that tracks Social Security policy, immediately raised its 2027 COLA projection from 2.8% all the way to 3.9%. That is a 1.1 percentage point jump in 1 month. Independent analyst Mary Johnson went further, revising her forecast to 4.2%, citing what she described as sharply rising inflation driven by factors that were not present at the start of the year. Now, before we get into what those numbers mean for your check, you need to understand why inflation jumped, because this is the part most coverage is skipping over, and it matters for understanding whether this forecast holds or reverses before October. The primary driver behind the April inflation surge is oil, specifically disruptions to oil supply moving through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical choke points for global energy. Crude oil prices surged nearly 50% between late February and April 2026. When oil moves that fast, it does not just affect what you pay at the gas pump. It moves through the entire economy. Transportation costs, food prices, utility bills, manufacturing costs, everything that gets shipped, stored, or heated goes up. The specific inflation index used to calculate the Social Security COLA, the CPIW, Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, came in at 3.9% for April. That is the highest reading in 3 years, and it is the direct input that caused both forecasters to revise upward in the same week. Now let's talk about what these percentages actually mean in dollars, because a percentage is abstract, and a dollar amount is not. The current average monthly Social Security retirement benefit is approximately $2,081. That is the number we are working from. At a 3.9% COLA, that average benefit would increase by approximately $81 per month, starting January 2027. On an annual basis, that is roughly $972 more per year than what you are receiving right now. If Mary Johnson's 4.2% forecast proves accurate, the monthly increase would be closer to $87 per month, and the annual gain would push past $1,044. Now here is where the numbers get more personal, because your actual benefit is not the average. If you receive more than $2,081 per month, your dollar increase will be proportionally larger. If you receive less, it will be smaller. The percentage is the same for everyone, but the dollar amount scales with your specific benefit. A quick way to estimate your own number: take your current monthly benefit, multiply it by 0.039 for the 3.9% scenario, or by 0.042 for the 4.2% scenario. That is your estimated monthly increase before any Medicare adjustment, which I will get to in a moment, because that adjustment is important. For context on how this compares, the 2026 COLA was 2.8%, adding approximately $56 to the average monthly check. If the 3.9% forecast holds for 2027, that is $25 more per month than what the 2026 raise delivered. Over a year, that gap is $300. Over 5 years, it is $1,500 in cumulative additional income, just from the difference between these two COLAs. And for people who are not yet receiving Social Security, but are planning to claim in 2027, a higher COLA means their projected benefit, based on their earnings record, will also be slightly higher at the point of claim. The COLA compounds on top of whatever your calculated benefit is. This is not a small thing for people in that planning window. Now I want to cover the 3 things most reporting on this forecast is getting wrong or leaving out, because each one affects whether that raise actually reaches you in full. The first thing being left out is this forecast is not the final number. The official 2027 COLA will be calculated using CPIW data from July, August, and September 2026 specifically, not April. April's data caused the revision, but July, August, and September are what actually count. If oil prices stabilize or drop over the summer, the index could pull back. If they continue rising, the forecast could go even higher. The number being reported right now is a projection, not a guarantee. The only date that matters for the final calculation is mid-October 2026, when the SSA officially announces it. The next key date before that is the 10th of each month, when new CPIW data is released. Each monthly release between now and October will either push the forecast higher, lower, or hold it steady. If you want to track this in real time, the Senior Citizens League updates its projection monthly at seniorsleague.org. That is the most reliable source for ongoing COLA tracking between now and October. The second thing being left out is the Medicare Part B offset. Every year when the COLA goes up, the Medicare Part B premium tends to go up as well, and it comes out of your Social Security check automatically before you ever see the deposit. Here is what happened in 2026 as a direct comparison. The COLA added $56 to the average monthly check, but the Part B premium increase that year took back $17.90, leaving most recipients with a net gain of approximately $38 per month. Not $56, $38. The gross raise and the net raise are 2 completely different numbers, and most reporting only mentions the gross. The 2027 Medicare Part B premium will not be announced until November 2026, but based on historical patterns, a COLA in the 3.9 to 4.2% range typically comes with a Part B increase in the range of $10 to $25 per month. Even with that offset, the net gain in 2027 would still be substantially larger than what most people saw in 2026. But you should know going in what the gross number means versus what will actually hit your account. The third thing being left out is what a higher COLA means for IRMAA, the income-related monthly adjustment amount. IRMAA is the surcharge that higher-income Medicare recipients pay on top of the standard Part B premium. The income thresholds that trigger IRMAA are adjusted annually, and they are adjusted based on inflation. A higher COLA environment typically means those thresholds shift upward slightly, which can move some people out of a surcharge tier they were previously in. If you were right at the edge of an IRMAA threshold in 2026, it is worth checking in November whether the 2027 thresholds have shifted enough to reduce or eliminate your surcharge. That check costs you nothing and could save you hundreds per month. So given everything we just covered, what should you actually do right now, before the October announcement? First, calculate your own projected increase using your actual benefit amount, not the average. Take your current monthly benefit and multiply by 0.039. That is your estimated gross increase under the 3.9% scenario. Write that number down, then subtract an estimated $10 to $25 for the likely Part B premium increase. That net number is what will realistically hit your account in January 2027 if current trends hold. Second, if you are currently paying an IRMA surcharge on your Medicare premium, mark November 2026 on your calendar. That is when the SSA announces the 2027 Medicare premium and IRMA thresholds. If the thresholds shift upward, which they typically do in higher inflation years, and your income places you right at the edge of a tier, you may drop to a lower surcharge level automatically. No action required, but you need to check your November Medicare notice to confirm it happened. Third, if your income has dropped significantly since 2024 due to retirement, a one-time event, or any major income change, and you are currently paying an IRMAA surcharge based on that 2024 income, you can appeal right now using Form SSA 44. You do not have to wait for November. A successful appeal can reduce or eliminate your surcharge immediately, and in a year where the base COLA is already higher, eliminating even a $70 monthly surcharge on top of a larger raise makes a material difference in what you take home. And fourth, if you are on Medicare and your income is currently under approximately $1,660 per month, as a single person, the Medicare Savings Program, specifically the QMB program, may eliminate your Part B premium entirely. In a year where the Part B premium is likely to increase alongside a higher COLA, having that premium completely eliminated by a savings program means the full COLA raise lands in your pocket with no offset at all. Call 1-800-MEDICARE or contact your state Medicaid office to apply if you have not already. Here is the full picture. The 2027 COLA forecast just moved from 2.8% to between 3.9 and 4.2%, driven by a surge in oil prices affecting the CPIW inflation index that SSA uses for the calculation. At 3.9%, the average monthly benefit increases by approximately $81. At 4.2%, closer to $87. Multiply your own benefit by 0.039 to estimate your personal number. This forecast is not final. The official COLA uses July, August, and September CPIW data announced in October. Watch the Senior Citizens League at seniorsleague.org for monthly updates between now and then. The Medicare Part B premium will offset part of the raise, likely $10 to $25 per month, announced in November. Your net gain will be lower than the gross headline number. If you pay an IRMAA surcharge, check the November threshold announcement. You may drop a tier automatically. If your income dropped since 2024, file SSA 44 now to appeal and eliminate the surcharge entirely. And if your income is under $1,660 per month, apply for the QMB Medicare Savings Program so the full COLA lands in your pocket with no Part B offset. Subscribe and share this with someone you know who is on Social Security. The forecast will update again next month, and I will be here with the new number the moment it comes out. I will see you in the next one.